We've got a great guest on today for this webinar, How to Build a Huge Medical Billing Business Even in a Small Town. That's because I've got a guest on here today that is actually in a small town. So let's see if she's still with us here. Tierni Martens, are you on the line?
Hi, Patrick. Yes, I'm here.
Well, thanks for joining me today, Tierni. This is exciting for me because I don't even know where you're at in your business, but I want to kind of start from, where you were when you first got into it back in, looks like September of 2008. What were you doing at the time?
Wow, that seems like so long ago. September of 2008. I had been a stay-at-home mom with the kids. We have three kids, and had been at home with all of them as they were preparing to go off to school. And I knew when the baby was getting ready to go to school that I wanted to do something, and I knew I didn't want to work for somebody, and so I just kind of started investigating what some of my options were. So that's kind of how I got started to even think about doing something. But no, I had no medical billing background whatsoever.
So you just started, like most people do nowadays, just searching on the internet then, huh?
Yeah, I had found a website that marketed franchises and kind of went through their series of little quizzes to kind of narrow down what my options were. And ABS was one, and I never know what to call it, but it was like a promotional marketing company was the other, where you go around and you put business names on like coffee mugs and pins and things like that.
That was a
And
franchise. That was a franchise that you were looking at too, huh?
yeah, those
Yeah.
two, exactly. And, I always say the same thing, and I hate saying it especially directly to you, but it's the truth, which is I really wanted to do the other business. Medical billing to me, seemed extremely boring and uninteresting, and that I kind of artsy, so I thought, that would be really cool to be able to do that. But obviously I'm really happy about the decision I made, so
I guess so. Yeah. Now,
yeah.
we haven't said the small town that you're in. I call it small, but it's probably not small to you. But Yuba City, California. What
Correct.
what kind of population is there? Is it like 403?
I don't know what the last count was. I think I heard something like 70,000 last time.
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah. See,
yeah, around that.
that's like my subdivision here in Fort Worth. So.
That's funny. Yes, we are a small town, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
All right, so let's see. You started out there, and by the way, I had a picture of you on the screen here. I think I've maybe gone away from it, but I'm going to go back to it here. This was you in front of the office that you're in right now, still. Uh,
Uh-huh. Yep, we're still here.
yep. And when I came down, I remember two young ladies working at two different desks there in the front office, and then you had an office there in the back.
Correct.
Yep. And how many doctors or providers did you have at that time?
I want to say at that time I had around three or four, maybe
Yeah, I
five,
think
six. I can't remember how many,
No,
honestly.
I think that's right. It was just a handful. I mean, literally, I was wondering, okay, why do you need two people? But I think the two ladies were actually both part time.
Yeah, and I mean, I've shared this with you. Is my intention of this business was not only to create an income for myself, but I did not want the business to take over my time because my time is extremely important to me. And so I didn't mind giving up some of the money so I could keep the flexibility of the time that I had, which is why I started. I mean, when I had one account, I hired somebody. And I think that's a decision that each individual person needs to make for themselves. For me, I was willing to give up, some money to have more time, but some people might be willing to give up more time to have more money. It's just a personal decision.
Sure. Yeah, no, I definitely remember you telling me that at the time, even though you just had three accounts, you had these two ladies working because you did want to be, with your family. You wanted to be there at home when they came home from school and
Mhm.
so forth. And, I think you were only working like 3 hours a week or something.
Yeah, very minimal.
So You've kind of moved on from there, haven't you, Tierney?
We have moved on. We are actually, I was just sitting here counting when I saw that you had 40. I think we actually are at, it sounds ridiculous that I don't know off the top of my head, but I think I have 46 right now. And I just got word that my biggest client is actually adding six more by, I think it's March. Um,
Oh my
and
goodness.
which is one of the reasons why we're moving because I knew I had to hire somebody else. So, yes, we've grown a little bit.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Okay, so let's start with first of all, to manage 46 doctors, providers, you have to have more than two people, of course, working for you now, I guess.
Yes, I have 9 employees, and I'm getting ready, like I said, to hire my probably in the next month or so. I usually kind of span it out to where when I know I'm getting more accounts, I strategically organize it to where, I hire the person and I bring on the accounts at the same time. So, yeah, I have 9 now, getting ready to get 10.
And am I assuming that you have some of those folks working remotely, or are they all in that office building there that you're in now?
Yeah, you know what? I have one employee that works remotely. She actually has worked for me. She was the very first hire I ever did. I hired her. I want to say it was in April or May of 2009, and she actually came into the office and worked here for like I want to say 2 years, and then her and her husband decided to relocate. But she was doing such a good job that I decided to let her keep the accounts. So she's the only one that works remotely, but being in this business for me has been such a blessing because I feel like it's provided me again. My time is so important to me. I like going to my kids, sporting events, and you just saw a picture of me in Europe. I like to travel, so I never wanted to be in a position where I was, bogged down with time. But also, I feel like a perk for my staff is having that same freedom. And when you're in this industry, because we work off of a web-based system, they don't have to be here 100% of the time. And I tell them that when I hire them. I like them for my management purposes to have them in the office the majority of the time. But I mean, I don't care when my staff rolls in as long as they're doing their job. A lot of them are gone today, working from home. So I feel like the same blessing that I have of flexibility of freedom, I then just extend to them also.
Yeah, I do the same thing with the ABS staff. They've got as flex time as you can possibly have, as staff members for ABS. And so, all right, so some of those people then you obviously have them working from wherever they need to work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, we're all here in the office. I would say 90% of the time. But yeah, I mean, if they want to work at home on any given day because they have something going on, that they have a sick child or whatever, that's part of the blessing of being in this business and being an ABS licensee is the systems that we utilize are web based and they can stay home and do whatever they need to do.
Okay, so obviously you are thinking about moving. Did you you found a place?
I found a place. Yep, I actually bought a new building, and we are going to be moving. Well, here in the next couple of weeks. The goal is to be in by February 1st.
All right, so this has to be considerably bigger than the office that I was in because that one was only what, maybe 2,500 square feet or less. Yeah.
Yeah, no, the building we're in right now is 1,200 square feet, and I'm a treasure hunter. I like to, and I love real estate, so I'm always looking for really good deals and things, and I like fixing things up. So I actually found an old hotel.
In
It's
Paris?
six in what's that?
In Paris?
No, 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 my office.
No, I'm talking about Paris. I got a picture of you
Oh,
in Paris, so I
oh
figured
yes,
you
I
found a
know lots of
hotel
old
there.
buildings in Paris. Oh goodness. Um, yeah, so I found an old hotel, got an incredible deal on it. Definitely need some TLC, but I'm up for the challenge, and so that's where we're going to be going to.
Oh, well, I got to make another trip out there then. I have got to see that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that is great. 6,000 square feet, huh? Well, that ought to give you plenty of room from 1,200.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think we have to to move again, which was kind of my objective. So,
You know, that was exactly the square footage in the building that we were in prior to the one we're in now. 6,000 square feet is a lot of space.
yeah, it is a lot of space.
So you
So,
got you got room for growth, or maybe you could even sublease some of the offices for now.
yeah, I'm actually that's what the down we will completely encompass the downstairs, and the upstairs is kind of this open loft. It's really beautiful, actually. I love it. And I've actually thought of doing just that. I've thought of just subleasing that out to another company until we're to the point where we need to take over the upstairs also.
Okay, well, so obviously I need to send you a camera because I have a picture of you on the screen that is from, well, about 8 years ago when I visited you, or whenever that was, when you had
I
three
look
accounts.
exactly like that. I haven't aged at all. What are you talking about?
No, no, I just mean you can tell it's kind of grainy because when I took it, it was
Oh.
like, no,
Oh, I
I
thought
think
you
you
were
sent.
saying I look like I was 90 now or something.
No, in fact, you look better in the one there
Oh,
in Paris.
good.
Yeah. Who was that
Yay.
with you there?
That's my aunt. Her and I are super close.
Oh, she likes to
She's
travel,
one
huh?
of my she's one of my financial mentors. She's been very successful in her life, and I pick her brain whenever I can.
Well, that's good. Everybody needs a mentor that they can go to.
Yep.
All right, so let's go back to how you got from, 3 doctors to 46 doctors. In the last, what? That happened actually in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. I I always knew that I wanted to grow the business, and but I always took the steps, even when I was small, to kind of ensure that I touched all the people that I felt could potentially get me to that point. And what I mean by that is, when I first started, I had gotten a couple of independent providers. Those were my first couple of clients. I had heard about a golf tournament that the local hospital does every year. It's an annual fundraiser, and I decided that I was going to sponsor it because I found out when you're a sponsor that they announce you in front of everybody, and I thought, man, what a great opportunity to go there and really start meeting these providers that are in our community. Um, so I did that in 2009, and at that golf tournament, I actually met the head IT administrator at the hospital and developed a business relationship with him. And it was probably about a year and a half later, I found out that they were going to basically create this providers group, and they wanted to start talking to me about doing their billing. And long story short, that kind of collapsed. I actually did go after it. I bid on it. I gave them a proposal, and that didn't work out. And I had just kind of forgotten about it, moved on. And then I want to say it was maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, I got a phone call from somebody in my Rotary group through networking who said, hey, listen, they have hired a new CEO for these clinics. Basically, they're going to oversee creating these new clinics like they were going to do before, but this guy is very talented, and he's actually built these clinics before, kind of from the ground up, and formed these groups, and really encouraged me to reach out, that I should reach out to him. So anyway, I did, and anyway, that's how this mass quantity of clients I now have got started. I developed a relationship with him. He gave me the contract. I think December was a year that I've been with them. And in January, we signed 20 doctors, and they've added 21 since then. And every year, their goal is to add 20 to 40 more. So,
Wow. Now, by the way, I ran across a great little article here in Medical Economics. I don't know if you can see this, Tierney, but I'm showing this on the screen. It's from April of this year. And there's their website, medicaleconomics.com. You can go there and find this article. It's great. Look at this quote from this. At no time in medical history has there been a greater need for expertise, technology, compliance assistance, etc. There is simply no entity in existence positioned to meet these needs better than the third party medical billing companies.
Hmm.
How about
That's
that?
great.
Now, that's a
That's great.
magazine that is directly, aimed at doctors and their staff. You can see from some of the articles here on the cover of that. There is no other entities that's better positioned than we are, and I think that's just a matter of educating the doctors, don't you? I mean, they don't realize that, but we got to educate them to that point.
Well, yeah, and I mean, this has been something talked about multiple times, and it's unfortunately just true, is that, providers go to medical school because they care about people and they're interested in medicine, not because they like dealing with business. And so, you know, when we come in, and we're doing business with them, um, that it's really important that obviously, that we have a clear understanding of how we can support them. But they're not focused on, the business aspect of it. They're focused on the medical aspect. And one of the things that I learned right away, and this isn't, I'm not trying to be, I don't know, facetious, but when you get a client and you do a good job for them, it is too difficult for them to switch the business situation with you. It's just too hard because
Yep.
you basically have them hooked, if you will. They can't afford to switch now their billing internally because now they're paying, additional taxes, they're paying Social Security tax. They're paying all these extra fees to have somebody internally. So as an outside biller, we save them so much money. And then if on top of saving them money, you can actually make them more money by learning their account and the correct way to bill for them, I mean, you really do kind of have them hooked long term. I mean, thank God I've never lost an account, but I think that's why, is because I mean, they can do basic math. There's no way they could afford to take it in-house, and do what I do for them.
Yeah, no. And again, that goes back to when you first approach a doctor, they think that their current situation, they're happy with it, right? That everything's fine and that they're getting money because they do get checks every week, right, from the insurance companies. They just don't
Sure.
get all of the money that they should be getting.
Well, yeah, yeah, and everybody kind of gets those little gut instincts. And I mean, I've seen situations. My second account, um, that I signed on, when I signed her, she didn't want to let her biller go because she felt like she was doing such a good job, and she was a kind person. She felt like she didn't want to put her out of a job. And so what I said is, well, why don't you let me do the insurance aspect, and she can deal on the patient payment side, like she can call patients. So I kind of created like something for her to do to where she could keep her and I. And when I brought her on a client, she was making, and this is not exaggerating, she was collecting $12,000 a month cash. So she was billing out, collecting $12,000 was her income for the month. Within, I think it was 6 months, once I started billing, the biller who had been billing for her was doing really basic mistakes and then not following up. So she would mail or send and claim to the patient's incorrect insurance. Well, if you mail out a claim to the wrong insurance company, which is really as simple as, hey, what's your insurance card? And you look at the card and see where the claim goes. And then on top of that, you don't follow up, then there's money sitting out there that's never collected. So within 1 month, I basically was like, well, look, this is kind of what's going on, and you haven't been paid on all these things. The biller was let go. I then became the full-time biller for her, and within 6 months, we had her up to $20,000. Within a year, we had her to 30, and now she actively collects. We collect about 45 to 50,000 a month for her.
Oh my gosh.
So
Now, so what did you start? What was she collecting when you first started?
12,000.
Up to 45 now?
Yeah, she's around, and sometimes she gets up to 50, just depending, obviously, on how many patients she sees for money. And I mean, to say the least, she's referred probably 4 or 5 people to me,
Plus,
because of that.
yeah,
So
plus, since you're making a percentage of what she brings in, you went your income went up too, obviously.
Oh yeah, no, immensely.